finite element analyses aren't the only simulations we run. I actually spend much more of my time with flow simulation. And every year, the functionality of this tool keeps increasing. With SOLIDWORKS 2021, they actually merged two of my favorite recent enhancements by allowing rotating regions to be combined with the free surface feature. This is ideal for mixing of immiscible fluids like oil and water or propelling a boat across the surface of a lake. Take for instance the thruster of this square robot. Here the propeller is defined as a rotating region using the sliding mesh technology, so I'm actually ramping up the speed over time. This is really pretty easy to set up using the flow simulation wizard. Let's take a look at the general settings where I've been able to specify that I want not just rotating region and what method, but free surface at the same time. It also gives me initial and ambient setups for the global domain. Here I've got a concentration that's a mixture of water and acetone. Now I mentioned this is a transient, time-dependent study, and in that case I like to look at the results with the Transient Explorer enabled. Just a right-click on the results folder. This allows me to review any of my plots as they change over time without having to get into the interface of the animation suite or deal with keyframes or timelines. This cut plot also then becomes a sanity check that my simulation performed as expected. And it's similar to what you can watch while a simulation solves if you're just talking about cut plots. Of course, the real data here is going to be in the goal plots, and what I'm monitoring is torque and power. For any of these goals though, you can simply switch the drop down here to a history, which shows me how these changed over time and again gives me confidence in their convergence. One thing I was really happy to see too is a maximum across the entire calculation, as well as the time of when it occurred is just a column in that goals summary table, no searching required. Now if you're running similar projects, you should absolutely be making use of SOLIDWORKS full template capabilities for flow, but even if your studies are quite different, you can automate your post-processing a bit with this create plots from scene command. Let me show you how this works. All you need to do here is show the different plots you've created and are happy with. Like here I've got an iso surface. It's a super cool way actually to show the interface between immiscible fluids. I've got a few other surface plots and cut plots that are pretty standard, so I'll just show all of those, and then a right click on the result folder gives you access to the create scene template and captures all of these plots and their setup for use in any other study. Now, a real common application for flow simulation is actually in heat transfer, particularly for electronics components. This vehicle here uses multiple batteries inside an enclosure. The idea of the design is that the enclosure itself can act as a heat sink. What I need to know is exactly how is the heat moving around from component to component or one place to another. And the flux plot gives me a graphical interface so I can easily understand where the heat's coming from and where it's going. And in 2021, you can group all items by type so you can really quickly check the energy balance of your simulation and get yet another indication that your study has fully converged. Now, if I'm working with a mixed internal and external domain, I'm likely to crop plots down to a smaller region, such as creating a flow trajectory here, but just one that shows the internals of the battery compartment. And while this may sound small to you, it's actually a huge time saver to me. When cutting down to a crop plot, I want to reset the color legend, and I simply have buttons for the automatic max and mins that pertain just to this crop region, so the colors of my plot make intuitive sense to everyone involved. And I've got another one button time saver for you. If you're making an equation goal to do something like obtain the max temp across all the batteries, the equation calculator now includes buttons for min, max, and average that can be applied to multiple goals in one click. Finally, if you find yourself performing manual post-processing of results in Excel, especially with something changing over time like this, you need to check out custom visualization parameters. In 2021, custom visualization parameters can now depend on other custom visualization parameters. Like in this scenario, I'm using the Magnus formula for calculation of dew point. And since I have the setup items in the engineering database, they're ready to use in all of my other projects as well, past or future. Guys, I'm always floored by flow simulation. I think it's the easiest tool to use in the entire simulation suite, and it makes the coolest outputs.